All right, welcome back. Well, yes, we're talking about the unfortunate attacks, and we've got Mr. Fatai Owoseni joining us this morning. He's a special advisor on security matters to Oyo State Governor. He's a former commissioner of police. He's been in Lagos, in Benue State, amongst others. Good morning, and thank you for joining us today on the program. And first of all, commiserations on this unfortunate incident. But there are several reports as to the casualty figures and accounts, so people stay worried. So perhaps if you don't mind starting from that perspective, has that been, can we place a finger on it now in terms of the casualty figures so people know how to proceed?
Good morning, Chamberlain, and thank you for the condolence message. I happened to I've traveled with the Commissioner of Police to Igangan yesterday, and from the camp, and of course the corpses that we saw, 11 persons of Igangan community, 11 casualties were recorded, while 5 of the bandits were also eliminated.
But I know that, do we have did you see this coming in the first place? Because several people have said, well, there might have been a hint or two from security agents, even though they had been speaking with everybody in the community, hoping that this kind of thing doesn't happen. But is there any, can you tell us how things broke down, if at all it did?
Yeah, you see, from all indications, from what we saw at Grant, as to whether did we see it coming, somehow we've been having intelligence that there is a likelihood of the fellow, the Seriki Sali, that was pursued out of that community to his own place in Kwara State, that there is a likelihood of him, seeking help from people that are Fulani ethnic origin to come and do a reprisal. And there have been report of some of his children also saying that they want to come back. So he's been talking with two sides of his mouth. At a point in time, he even wrote an appeal pleading that the state should allow him to come back. This information, as we received them, we shared with the security agencies and the locals, that is the traditional institutions and the local government officials, and that informed the the concepts that the state had been putting up to get more of the non-state actors to be integral part of our concept. And we've been working on that seriously. We've been asking everybody to be on the lookout. But as with every asymmetric warfare, a jungle war, people always take advantage. So what happened yesterday, early in the morning, that was between around 11:10 p.m. up till about 3-4 a.m. Was that these fellows took advantage of the darkness and enter the Igangan community through a place identified as Asunara. So in such situation, you can't plan enough in asymmetric warfare. But apart from condoling with the families of those people that lost their lives, I also want to sincerely appreciate the people in Igangan, that is the community, the non-state actors. His Excellency Governor Sheyi Makinde, appreciate them a lot because for them to have quickly mobilized, because they were caught unaware, a social party was ongoing. They were just rounding up at the party when these guys, struck. So for them to have taken the bull by the horn and fought back, and were able to also eliminate part of these fellows, That was a very good. It was a good attempt. And while one of the reasons that we're concluding that it was the reprisal is that out of the five of the bandits that were killed, two of them were positively identified to be children of that fellow, the Sally, that has been, removed from that place. While one of them is a son of Wakili, who is presently in prison on charges of kidnapping and murder. So if you just, yes, it's not conclusive, but having those elements there that have been identified with the fellows that have been accused of so many things speak to the fact that it's a kind of reprisal, and it was also somehow targeted. That's what I can read from what we saw at Igangan yesterday.
One of the things that comes to my mind, Mr. Owoseni, is that, you said that the information was well ahead of time, which was shared with security agencies. I'm wondering if there is any way one could have also shared the same information, one way or another, with the members of the community as well, because I'm wondering, was there anything we could have done to, knowing that these things could happen, maybe, increase or beef up security in the area, and as well, perhaps, maybe not to cause any kind of apprehension on the part of the people, but at least to prepare in the event that such things would happen so that we don't lose so many lives and property. Could that have been done?
First, let me, maybe you did hear me when I was talking, we responded to Chamberlain's question, that when we started getting such information, even from the people in Kwara, where Saliu originated from, they were also looking for a way to evict him from that place. So when we started getting the information, we had interactions with the people within that axis, Okeogun, Ibarapa axis, and the whole of Oyo State, but especially focused on the people within that area. The local government officials, and the same information was disseminated to the traditional rulers that we have to be on the lookout, that when people see something, they should say something. But beside all that, when you talk of asymmetric warfare, what they call jungle warfare, you cannot prepare enough. And, they will always take opportunity of some gaps, like as it happened. It was some minutes before midnight. So even if you have all the structure, you will still have that element of surprise. And of course, with the turn in a kind of joyous mood, like I said before, the party was ongoing through where they came in from, and somehow targeted as well. But I will still give it to very good people in Igangan, the non-state actors, the elders, and the youths there, for them to have come out boldly and, challenge that, somehow repel, pursue them, and were able to eliminate 5 of them. Oh, so that is to say that some kind of preparation was on ground, and what we just need to do in Oyo State, we've been emphasizing what we call integrated security architecture, integrated security concept. That is making the non-state actors integral part of our architecture, because there is a huge gap in terms of personnel strength of the conventional security people. And the only way we can do that, we can bridge the gap, is to get the non-state actors involved. And we will only accelerate, putting this structure on a sound footing. The concept, an operational concept, have been designed, which will make the non-state actors who will operate under the voluntary policing sector, who will to have a seamless synergy, a good working relationship with the conventional security.
Well, you'd also recall, the fact that lives were lost is definitely something that concerns the Oyo State government, as you have said, and everyone is really concerned. So even though we can't, prepare enough, loss of life is never something anything wants to record. I'm sure you would agree with that. But the question is against the backdrop of not just this event, but the fact that the chairman of Oyo State Security Network also made that comment within the past a week or so, that there is a likelihood of attacks, and that most of the people, well, the likelihood is that there are going to be people who are not from Nigeria in particular, and that is not the first time we're hearing that kind of thing. Is there any way that we can forestall a repeat?
You see, when you talk of security, you can't have total 100% mark when it comes to security. And you mentioned the chairman of Amotekun on your state had come up with that. I must tell you that there are ways that intelligence reports are disseminated, which we've been doing in Oyo State, because we have the service commanders that will share this information. Even before then, I have mentioned that when we got the information, we've gotten the service commanders involved, we've gotten the local community involved, we've put on ground a kind of structure, the background to, formally integrating the non-state actors into our security architecture. We've because all these things involve a lot of plans, and it's not everything you do about security that you want to roll out. It's also not every intelligence report that you get you want to broadcast in a manner that will make people to be panicky. I can assure you that this, yes, from all indications, appear targeted, but you learn lessons from different things that happened. I still repeat it, the fact that the Igangan community was able to come out and repel and succeeded in eliminating 5 of them, that was an indication that some groundwork must have been made. So it's just a matter of strengthening that structure to make sure that we are not caught unaware. The focus here in Oyo State, which His Excellency Governor Seyi Makinde is pushing, is let us put all structures in place that will make us to be proactive as much as possible. But no country in the world, nowhere in Nigeria, can you say you are winning asymmetric warfare 100%. There may be little gaps in there, but as it happens, you do a lesson learned. You know what are the things you've done that are best practices, and you see how you can improve on the gaps that you have. But I can assure you that we'll continue to improve on that structure, accelerate integrating strongly our non-state actors into the architecture that will work.
At least 3 times now you have commended the people of Igangan for rising up to the occasion, as it were. And you've talked about collaboration. You just talked about that now. You say that this attack took place from about 11 p.m. to 3 a.m. the next day. That's about 4 hours. The question for me first is, where was the police, or according to you, conventional security agencies? Where were they during this 4-hour period?
Look, everybody, yes, I was a policeman, but everybody thought, where were the police? If you listen very well, I've mentioned that there is a huge gap. How many policemen do you have in a place? That has this because of the incident we've been having. We've been having reinforcement of the PMF. We've been having reinforcement of Amotekun and the Operation Boss, the state security outfit. So when you are faced with such situation, and of course in the night, limited operations are carried out. So the little support that it can give to the people there before reinforcement came, helped and assisted in getting the enemy side, the and to get some of the enemy side eliminated. You cannot. If anybody says you can have 100 over 100 in security, please forget it. That is utopia.
You know, my question is quite specific. Between that 11 p.m. and 3 a.m. window, did reinforcement from the police come?
Yes. People were moved from Aguare. That is the new mobile squadron. From Aguare to that axis would take like about 2 hours. They had some on ground before. What we have to recognize is that there is huge deficit when you talk of strength of the police. Even when you talk of the weapon with which they will operate, and night operations, as far as the rule of engagement is concerned, is somehow always limited. That is the professional view.
Were investigations and talks around this attack could happen without referring to what happened in January, the episode with the Seriki Fulani, which you also referenced, and all that. And you say that people identified some of the attackers as sons of either the Seriki or Wakili. The question is, what happened then? How was it resolved, or was it ever resolved, really? Because if this is a reprisal, then it clearly points to the fact that the episode we saw there was not quite resolved.
I won't understand fully what you mean by resolved. When I was talking, I mentioned that Wakili is still awaiting trial, is in prison custody with 2 of the other suspects on charges of murder and kidnapping. The other fellow who fled from that place has been, moving from one location to the other, and the investigation is still ongoing on that. And you can be sure that whichever way, people will be brought to justice. So I know quite well that the police, especially, that is charged with that responsibility, they are doing their work, and hopefully at the right time, the long run of justice we will catch up with that fellow. But the other fellow is on remand in the correctional service.
Of responses to this attack, we've also had some from the opposition party in Oyo State. And let me just take something from what they said. In fact, for them, they're solely blaming the governor for this lapse, which they realize. And they ask that for how long should Governor Seyi Makinde continue passing the buck, rather. And the question they ask is, what is the essence of the monthly security vote which the governor collects if it could not be channeled towards securing the lives and property of the residents and indigene of Oyo State? Now, this is the view of the opposition party in the state. How do you respond to that?
Well, I don't want to join in any political discussion. It is unfortunate, and that is the bane in this country. I want to know what the political class who, politicize, ethnicize everything security. It's a sad thing for us in the country to put issues around, political thing. Before this incident happened, Igangan had been, a little bit calm for some months before we had this. And, I'll leave politics to politicians to talk. If that is what their reaction is going to be, let's wait and see this country. It's going to consume all of us. Anything security should not be, put in ethnic coloration, political coloration, or religious coloration. Security is for all, and whatever. But I don't want to get involved in all those political. I don't want to use certain languages. All what I know is that your state, every effort has been made to ensure that people are well secured, that we improve on everything we are doing. And everything also still boils down to how do you really, do a quick fix of the huge gap in strength, huge gap in infrastructure. I'm talking professionally now. How many policemen do you have in all the places? Even where you have the policemen, including the military, where are the weapons for them to work? And that is why we're having all this collapse. So is that supposed to be politicized? So I hope that the political elite will realize that and they will not, put things in political perspective.
I know the governors that in the Southwest have spoken, saying that this is callous, this is premeditated, and that they will do what they can within the law to protect their citizens. But does this, for you, do you think it further damages the confidence that people have in the police to do their job when they can or when they have to?
Somebody, you know my position when it comes to discussing police. I'm passionate about the police. That's an institution where I sat for 35 years. We must sit down in Nigeria and, decide whether we are ready to have a police. We are not ready to have a police in Nigeria. Take that place as an example. The divisional police headquarters is located at Ayike. Ayike to Igangan is like about 15-20 minutes drive with a vast land. And you want a DPO to police that place with 30,000 naira in 3 months. Who has bought weapons for the police over the years? Who has recruited people into the police for so many years? So the police is a victim of bad governance in this country. The police is a victim of the political elite. People will come and talk of answers and all those things. You create an institution and you continue to decimate that institution. This is not the police that some of us joined. So the guys are just struggling. The police are miracle workers. So everything that is said about the police is about all of us. A nation will have a police that it deserves. So we are not ready to have a police in Nigeria. You would say that police is bad. You continue to decimate, you continue to create all sort of proliferate security agencies. And you will do a joint task force. You will fund a joint task force more than a whole institution. You will create fractions out of the police. You will fund them more than the whole institution. Please, a person like me, when I talk to the police, it would invoke a kind of passion. The country is not ready to have a police. The country don't want the police to perform. Nigeria is the most difficult country to police. So that is it.
Well, I clearly understand, your passion, disappointment, and the way things are going. I mean, Nigerians equally feel, if not more, frustrated because they expect the authorities to know what to do and do the right things when it comes to policing. But it appears as though some people may be benefiting from the current structure, hence reasons why they don't see why they should do something about it. But just give us a moment. There's some other areas that we just need to clarify because we need to talk about solutions in terms of what to do, preventing this from happening again. But that will be when we return in a moment. Don't go away. Welcome back. Well, Mr. Owoseni, still in the theme of speaking about solutions to some of this, but I'd like to find out, does it make it more difficult for you advising the governor in terms of what to do, perhaps if the people feel disenchanted about the police, for instance?
Let me tell you, it's not about anything. Your state. And of course, while I was in the service, most of the states that I work, the governors are doing a whole lot. And here in your state, fantastic structure had been put up. apart from vehicles being provided, the vehicles are being fueled. The police and other security outfits in Oyo State are also being given allowance by the governor. When this madness of school kidnapping started, Oyo State is one of the states, yes, we may not make noise about it, where we've connected some of our schools, using vulnerability index to select schools, but we had our schools connected to the state security control room. So in Oyo State, from Ibadan, we can see some of the things that are happening in schools. And we have an alarm system that when things happen, they have any breach. Once they press the alarm, it will get to the police control room, the state security control room, the Amotekun operation room, the operation bus operation room, the nearest DPO, and the school head. So it's a huge, a lot of money that is spent on that. From Ibadan here, we can view some part of Ogbomoso, we can view some part of Oyo Town. Even the mobile squadron that was established in Aguare, there's a whole lot of money that was used in setting it up. We have to commend the governor, His Excellency Governor Seyi Makinde. A whole lot of support has been given to the police, but the governor cannot recruit people into the police. Oyo State, as huge as it is, the vastness of the land with an international border, has probably not up to 3,000 policemen. What are we talking about? And do you want to hold the governor responsible for that? So it's something that that is why sometimes, although some of us are saying no, it's not the state police that is the situation, but you can't but support some of the governors that are agitating for state police. So, and out of about 3,000 policemen that we police Oyo State, majority have been deployed for one bag carrying jobs or the other, which the governor don't have control over. So it's the political leadership that should, cover their face in shame. The police is derided. The police is used as caricature. But police, an average policeman, bear the brunt of bad governance in this country. The average policeman bear the brunt of the incompetence of everyone. The police is made to suffer for everything just because they don't have a voice. That is the only institution that don't have a voice in this country. If they have sit down in negotiation of salaries before, that will say, if the police, who probably does the biggest job in this country, is paid more than the military has a weapon that they can say, okay, maybe, yes, although coup is no more fashionable. The other arms of the public service, be it doctors, whatever, they can go on strike. It's only the police that I cannot say, Fatai and Chamberlain, we are complaining about something. That is mutiny. If you oppress a body that without which nothing can happen, what are you going to have? Because it's so sad and unfortunate that at every point in time, everybody will be talking of police. People are talking of NSAS. We are fooling ourselves. It's not about NSAS. It's ends to bad governance. The police reflect the political leadership. The police reflect what the country is all about. So if you deride the police, you are deriding yourself, for God's sake. So I have talked about it, and it evokes passion in me. You cannot just oppress people. I mentioned something. Even as Commissioner of Police in Lagos State, I mentioned it that an average DPO is giving 30,000 naira quarterly to police his area. Where Channels is located is policed by Magodo Police Station. Imagine from Magodo to your office, and you are giving that person 30,000 naira quarterly. The money for the first quarter may not be paid until the third quarter. And you continue to decimate that institution and fund the infinitesimal unit you are creating out of that institution more than the whole institution. Where were people in those days, the glorious days of the police? Even as of the early 80s, when we joined the police, we met a good police. You have rank and files now that are supposed to be given 2 pairs of uniform in a year. Those fellows have to go and buy from their salary. The average policeman, constable, the salary you give him is not even enough for him to commute from his house to the police station where he works. We see police and our political leaders, even at the National Assembly, they will deride the police that they are stinking. Why would they not stink, for God's sake? You are a policeman is coming from Ota to come and work in Ikeja every day. So because the salary is not enough for him to commute, when he leaves his family in Ota, at Ota on Sunday, he will tell Madam, oh, I'll come back on Saturday. The police station where he works, it's not as if there is accommodation there. So every morning he wakes up, he looks for sachet water or one dirty water to clean his face, wear the same uniform. So you have already, made the guy not to have any sense of dignity. It's not his making, and you are holding him responsible for everything. You cannot bring policemen from some of the civilized countries here. What will kill them is depression. I've cited an example in Benue State. Despite all the supports that the governors are giving us, you go to some places, you will put them where you will not even put your dog. You will put them where there is no governance at all. Yes, they've been talking of, we shouldn't be talking of ungoverned spaces. It's only the police you live at the middle of nowhere. Who does that? All the other institutions that they create, is there any of those institutions that do that? Who is on the road in the night? For God's sake, we should pity the police. They are miracle workers.
Yeah, but at that,
passing all these blames on the police.
Yeah, I get your point. Additionally, there will be many who will be asking questions as to what happens to DSS intelligence. Are they up to it? Did they share intelligence? What's happening to the military part as well? Did they have any hints that this was going to happen? All of that. But I know that this next one, may be up to the governor. But already, when this happened, the immediate thoughts that some people have is, well, since they came with about, 20, 50 bikes, who knows? The states may have to do something about commercial motorcycles. Is that going to be? Do we expect any decision on that?
No one has been able to say this is the exact number of people that entered Igangan. No one.
I get that point, but I'm asking, since they came with motorcycles, what happens? Do the people expect the government to make a decision on that?
For the incident that happened, no one in Igangan told us that they came in bikes. Oh. They only said that they used the bush paths to enter. Then when you talk of bikes, a whole lot of people have been talking of why has the states not ban Okada operation or whatever. And good enough, our governor will say, oh, everything we do in Oyo State, we want it to be logical. We want to think through it. We want it to be scientific. If there is no demand, there will not be supply. You understand? If you don't organize your transportation system very well to get alternative for people, you cannot just wake up. And you have to remember that some of the people that ride these motorcycles, some of them are graduates. Because of limited opportunity, they take that as a business. Have you provided alternative jobs for them? So don't let us, some of the things that we theorize about in this country, may God help us. We are, it's like we are moving towards, I don't know what to call it. Everybody will say, oh, ban bikes. But the state is saying, look, you can organize them. There are some countries, go to Beijing, they have an Okada link that they perform. Here, the state is embarking on capturing them biometrically so that you can link an average Okada man to a family. You also educate them on how not to be bad. While I was in Lagos, in Apapa, I was using some of the back riders to check bank robberies because the armed robbers don't know that I have some of those Okada riders who are stationed around by the banks. When people come out of the bank, the ones that will follow to go and snatch money from them. It's not just about saying, oh, ban this, ban that, when you have not provided alternatives. Alternatives in terms of job, alternatives in terms of transportation. So what are we talking about? Everything that is done in Oyo State is done based on logic, science, and of course, looking through it to see what benefits. Do you initiate a policy to cause multiple some other multiple incidents? So you don't want to do that. And it's not just about opposition says, oh, why are they not banned back or whatever.
Well,
so
I was
patronizing them.
Yeah, I actually did say if the people should expect a decision on motorcycles, not necessarily banning it, because there are several other things that can be done about it. For instance, I mean, we know that they're not, I mean, no, the law clearly says they can't apply. Yeah.
Let me tell you this. Even in Lagos, when we said, oh, don't ply certain routes, some people will be going to the airport
or go against traffic,
and they'll be held in traffic. And the next thing they are looking for is a bike rider. So when you ban them, people will still operate underneath. Some people said, okay, restrict the time of operation. His Excellency just about a week ago in the media chat said that people said, oh, stop Okada operation between maybe from 8 p.m. or whatever. And he took himself to certain locations in Ibadan and now counted the number of Okada operating within that hours. You find out that at that hour is even a limited number of them that operate. Where you have a good structure put in place, enforcement and everything, you say you ban them now, you are creating opportunity for corruption for some people. Because if you're banning, you must also have a record. How many do you prosecute? And we are also talking of a country where things don't work together. The criminal justice administration, how many people are going to take to court when even the courts are not sitting? How many people can the correctional facilities take if they cannot pay their fine? So when we talk of all this, that is why His Excellency Governor Seyi Makinde will always say, anything you want to do, everything you want to do, make it logical. Where they have banned them, are they really, is the ban, has it been effective 100%? So those are the questions that we should be asking ourselves. But I can tell you, the state is working assiduously, making effort to ensure that we capture the back riders, biometrically, that we educate them, organize the way they operate. One of the things that was done was you learn lessons from other countries. His Excellency brought a model policy from Rwanda, which we've seen. Oh, how can we work through it? But basically, once you ban them, you are also going to create a crime problem for the state. Because graduates that don't have work, that has gone to ride Okada, what else do you want him to do? People that are going to work, find out, some of your staff, is Okada that they ride to the office now. So what are we talking about? So if there is no demand, there will not be supply. So let us not fool ourselves at all.
Most certainly issues are there. Well, whatever the decision is, I guess one would just wait. You have already hinted at one. But on that same issue, you would remember that General Togun retired had also said that some of the bike riders usually gather information to use to foment trouble. He said they use the bikes to study the topography, get information, and all of that in order to foment some of these troubles. I want to believe that that is also part of the consideration. So while waiting for government to do the needful that you have hinted at, what do we do in the interim to ensure that these things do not get out of hand with some of the Okada riders who sometimes use it to foment trouble?
What we need to do, apart from getting alternatives, is to have, institutions that are sound, enforcement institutions, starting from the police, the federal road safety, and some of the state created traffic management agencies. When you have strong institutions, and of course, you go to the judiciary as well. When you have strong institutions, you'll be able to enforce. I can take a bet on it. Maybe just one or two other countries will probably be at par with Nigeria when it comes to enforcement. Even the elite, some of us that speak a whole lot of grammar, we are the people. Look at the most of the GRAs. They have cooks, they have maids, they have gardeners that are coming to work. It's the big men that are saying ban Okadas, that their cooks are coming to work and they will ride Okada to work. So they are the same people that will say ban them. They are the same people that will come and say, oh, how will my cook come to work and all those things. Once you think through it, like the governor of Oyo State is doing now, I've mentioned that before, that we are working strongly to make sure that we organize that system in a manner that will not, that they will not use them for purposes that are criminal in nature.
Well, Mr. Owoseni, pardon me, let's try to wind down on this. So we have a town that has just been attacked. People were killed. I believe a lot of people are still mourning strongly right now. It's still fresh in their memories. And a lot of thoughts, a lot of conversations, some of them you may have heard, regarding what to do next, how to ensure this doesn't happen again. Some are talking about self-help. I know the governor has spoken about that and tried to tell people to keep it calm. But you know these things are out there because people think, why would this happen? We don't deserve to go through this, especially also because they sense that it might happen again. So what would be closure for these people and how soon will they be able to get closure?
We don't deserve to even lose one life to insecurity in Oyo State or in any part of the country. It is also utopian to say that you have a crime-free society. With all sense of modesty, Oyo State still remains one of the states that is relatively peaceful when you compare the state with some other countries, even with states in the southwest. So, like I mentioned before, when things happen like this, you sit down, re-strategize. And of course, the focus of the state with the security task force and the war room that was created by the Executive Council, which His Excellency Governor Seyi Makinde chaired, is to ensure that we do a robust work on proactive measures. We don't want to be reactive. We are doing it. What has happened in Igangan would also, spur us to more action to accelerate what we are doing. As I talked to you, the structure has been put in place on how to get the non-state actors fully integrated in our security architecture. Oyo State is probably one of the first states that says our architecture is now changed to integrated security concept, where the non-state actors are made to work closely in support of the conventional security without any rancor, because that has always been the problem. To also make the non-state actors to work together, because the non-state actors are not working together. To get our traditional rulers involved. For a very long time, traditional rulers in Oyo State have not met together. But we had it just recently, and it is for the purpose of security. And because our traditional fathers also recognize that security is very important, they dropped all whatever misgivings they've been having. For almost 5, 6, 8 years, no governor had called traditional rulers together in Oyo State. And His Excellency Governor Seyi Makinde has done that for the purpose of security. We've been bringing our non-state actors together to say, oh, you have different factions of OPC. You have a Soluda or you have a Bekoya. All of you will work together for a common purpose. And for the conventional security to also recognize the fact that with police, with Operation Boss, with Amotekun, that there is no rivalry, and we are getting the agencies to, to work together more than they've been working together. And I believe that, yes, I don't want to sound somehow. I think what has happened in Igangan will make us to put more effort and quickly, put this structure and operationalize this structure. Once we operationalize the structure, the local community, they know the nooks and crannies of their communities. They know how to navigate the place. They are essential. And we continue to count on the support of our people, that all of us will join together and overcome this. But Oyo State remains one of the states in this country that you can say, when you're talking of security, we rank as one of the states that take security as very important.
We're hoping that the governors will be able to compare notes so that other states perhaps may need to borrow a leaf from each other and shore up the security architecture in different states. But we do thank you for coming on today, Mr. Fatai Owoseni, a special advisor on security matters to Oyo State Governor. Well, back in a moment. It's Twitter next.